The minor Basilica of Holy Cross in Jerusalem, or Santa Croce in Gerusalemme, is located near the gate of the ancient Aurelian walls, known as Porta Maggiore, within sight of the Basilica of St. John Lateran. In the 3rd century, the imperial residences were built in this area, and the Emperor Constantine gave this property, called the Caesorium, to his mother, Saint Helena, in 324. She had part of this complex converted into a chapel to house the relics of the Holy Cross of Christ found upon Mount Calvary, along with several other relics of the Passion. The Empress brought them back to Rome with her from a pilgrimage to Jerusalem, which she went on in the year 327 to 328, for the purpose of finding and preserving these relics. The chapel floor was covered with dirt brought from Jerusalem, which is still visible beneath the statue of Saint Helena found within the chapel she built, which remains at the original floor level and now bears her name. Though on the edge of the ancient and medieval city of Rome, this church became an important place of pilgrimage because of the relics that it contains, and is one of the 7 pilgrim churches of Rome. Throughout the centuries, it passed through several periods of disuse, notably during the Avignon papacies, and then successive restorations. The church was converted to the present Romanesque structure, with its typical 3 naves and bell tower, in the 12th century by Pope Lucius. The facade and interior were renovated to their present Baroque appearance in the 18th century, and an elliptical atrium was also added at this time. The adjacent monastery was first constructed in the 10th century and has been entrusted to several different religious communities throughout the centuries. A new chapel was constructed in 1930 to facilitate the public veneration of the relics of the Passion, which had been held within the chapel of St. Helena previously. Behind the main altar, this chapel may be accessed to the left of the sanctuary through a hallway lined by the Stations of the Cross. Along with the relic of the true cross, this chapel holds other relics related to the Passion and Crucifixion of Jesus. Tradition tells us that there is a bone from the index finger of St. Thomas the Apostle, the very finger that he inserted into the side of the risen Christ. Also, one of the nails of the crucifixion, 2 thorns from the crown of thorns, the greater part of the sponge used to give Christ vinegar, and a piece of the cross from the good thief, Saint Dismas. Adjacent to this chapel is an enlarged image of the Shroud of Turin. At the entrance to the Chapel of the Relics is found the tomb of Venerable Antonietta Mayo, a member of this parish, who died at the age of 6 from osteosarcoma. She offered all of her sufferings to Jesus for the good of others, and is a witness of sanctity for children who suffer. In 1492, while restoring some mosaics, a brick with the inscription Titulus Christi was discovered, and behind it the relic of the wooden sign that hung above Jesus' head upon the cross, known in Latin as the Titulus Crucis. It bears the inscription in Latin, Greek, and Hebrew, Jesus Christ, the King of the Jews, as is recounted in all 4 gospel accounts of the Passion. Its authenticity is attested to by the direction of the inscriptions, all written from right to left, as well as references to it found within ancient texts like that of Egidia, only discovered within the last century. This church leads us to contemplate the mystery of the cross, which speaks to us of the suffering and the love of the person of Jesus Christ, our Redeemer. When Pope John Paul II visited this church in 1979, he said, "I come here to worship in spirit, together with you, the mystery of the cross of the Lord. The cross is a new revelation of God. It is the definitive revelation. Along the way of human thought about God, along the way of understanding God, a radical change takes place. Love is revealed by means of the cross. God's innermost face is revealed in it. He is not just the judge. He is the God of infinite majesty and extreme justice. He is the Father who wishes the world to be saved and to understand the meaning of the cross." Mother Adela Galindo confirms these words, explaining, "The triumph of love is the triumph of the wisdom and the logic of the cross. The wisdom of the cross transcends all human wisdom. It demolishes the selfish, comfortable, and easy solutions of human wisdom. The wisdom of the cross is a scandal to the mentality and ways of our flesh and of the world. It is the triumph of love and the triumph of light. This wisdom must be known and received. Thus, it can transform the interior path of the human heart." Let us pray together to Christ, love crucified, that we may embrace our sufferings and crosses with love, even as he did. O Christ lifted high, O love crucified, fill our hearts with your love, that we may see in your cross the sign of our redemption, and, drawn by your wounds, we may live and die with you, who live and reign with the Father and the Spirit, now and forever. Amen.